actually brush the holes after the attempts because the chalk always sticks to the holes, and yeah, you want the best friction you can get.
As I say, no brushes at the competitions in the Corona era. Climbers have to do it themselves. Okay, we've got the figure of 4 on boulder 3.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the method the route setters intended, with the figure of 4. But there are always more ways to solve the puzzle.
Boulder 4, and we haven't seen it yet, but it is really physical. I think after boulder 3, you need to save a little bit of energy for that finale.
Yeah, and it always...
I've just been told that we are now live on YouTube after 1 or 2 technical problems. Corona changes lots of things, but it doesn't change everything. The YouTube technical issues, which can be rather frustrating for all involved, seem to have persisted through the virus.
Yeah,
Selina Schäuble, just to let you know, did miss that top. We just cut away as she went for it. But yeah, apparently we are live. Charlie Bosco here with Austrian climbing legend Anna Stöhr alongside me.
Yeah, hello everybody, also from my side. I'm excited to be here and to actually watch a climbing comp live. So welcome everybody.
Yeah, I hope you can join us live. Apologies for the technical issues. When the live stream is finished and it's been re-uploaded to YouTube, you will be able to watch it right from the start, so you won't miss anything. If you're just tuning in now and you think you've missed 40 minutes or so of action, you have not. Will be on YouTube, and apologies for the issues. Selina Schäuble does top number 2. She was really close on the attempt before, and the attempt before that actually a couple of times. She'd really got close on that top hole. Gets it done this time.
She's the first one to top boulder number 2.
Yep.
So far, we've only seen a top on boulder number 1 from Lena Breuss, who's climbing on boulder number 3 right now, and the top from Selina Schäuble on boulder number 2. So you didn't miss too many tops yet, but the tops are to come, I promise.
Finally we can have a look at number 4. Actually, very physical boulder. We got a glimpse of it. There it is. Climbers going right to left today. Natalie Bertschi now of Switzerland. Next climber to get underway, her compatriot Petra Klingler will be out second to last. The 2016 Boulder World Champion, bettered only by Eva Maria Hamel-Müller in the qualifiers.
Yeah, Natalie is one of the climbers who has had lots of experience in the World Cup so far. Her first World Cup start was in 2013 already in Kitzbühel. As you know, a lot of the other climbers are young competitors who are used to climbing in the youth category. So Natalie is one who is one of the older ones, and she should. Maybe we'll see a change of tactics when we watch her. And if you're wondering why a Swiss climber is part of the Austrian Summer Series, this is why. It's because the Austrian Federation wanted to hold a competition, and the concept had to be worked out 2 months ago. At that point, the coronavirus numbers were okay in Switzerland and Germany. That's why the Austrian Ministry of Sport decided that it was okay to invite 4 athletes from Switzerland and 4 athletes from Germany alongside the Austrian athletes. And of course, everyone would have loved to have a World Cup, which was scheduled at the end of May, to have in Innsbruck, to have the whole climbing world here. But due to coronavirus, this was not possible, and that's why we only have Austrian, Swiss and German athletes out here on the mats today.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rubbish year all round, especially if you like comp climbing. In fact, especially if you like anything other than sitting in your own home.
Yeah, it's been really tough.
We are back.
a lot of people, and I think the climbers in general are now just happy to be back on the wall, to have a comp-like feeling again. And the second top on number 2 for Laura Stöckler. It's the first top.
So she has a top. Again, first chance of a real look at number 4. A couple of climbers had attempted it without much success. Scores have just come through, by the way. Selina Schäuble topped Boulder 2 on her 6th attempt. We said she'd been close a few times. I hadn't realised it'd been quite as many as 6. So yeah, Boulder 4, you start, you can see the 4 bits of green tape denoting where your 4 limbs have to go. You start with your hands on the white hold, feet on the black hold, and then you go up to that first black volume, and then I think probably need to swap from pushing with your feet to toe catching with your feet at that point, and then it's just kind of slapping volume to volume. It's a really physical boulder. Bear in mind that the final for these women will be this evening.
The 2 last boulders that we can see right now are both very physical, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see who will have enough power left after the first 2 boulders to actually top the last 2. This is the first one for Natalie.
One thing to watch actually on that start, those start holds on number 4, rules that started last year with it, climbers have to achieve a stable position. They can't just tap the toe, and Jana definitely just tapped her toe, so she'll have to be careful. She does have to achieve, there we go, that's a bit more like a stable starting position. You have to kind of pause. And the attempt before that, she literally just tapped the volume. So you've got to be careful now. That's no longer legal.
Yeah, it looks really hard. Of course, we have, or the route setters have to separate world champions from youth athletes. So it's a really tough job to be a route setter. But yesterday they got the level quite good, and Jana is part of the Austrian youth team. She prefers crimps to slopers, so maybe she won't be too happy on number 4.
Oh, you will not get much closer than that. Natalie on number 1. What's your involvement with the team these days? Just social secretary?
I'm actually part of the board of the Austrian Federation board. Yeah, so we discuss all sorts of issues, and it's interesting to work with the federation.
Mona Kellner now of Germany gets underway.
Yeah, we had the first German athlete out, right, Charlie?
Yes, yeah, already had 2 Swiss climbers, Natalie and Sophia, but that is the first German climber out, as you say, first of 3.
Keller Mona from Nürnberg, close to Frankenjura. I'm sure she climbed a lot outside these days. Once, when the gyms were closed, she has a lot of rocks right next to her doorstep.
So Lena having a look at number 4 now. Got her semi-final off to an amazing start on number 1.
Yeah, she's one of the youngest athletes and already topped 1 boulder. But as you can see, the last one is really physical, and it will be really hard for the young ones.
So Selina Schäuble fresh, well, 5 minutes on from her top of number 2. I think going for the 360, yeah. And now you've got to try and swing round and grab that zone. There's not much to grab, but the left hand's pretty good.
And Mona on the slab. Usually German climbers are very talented slab climbers. If I think back to Jule Wurm, for example, or Lily Kiesken, also another German climber who's very good at climbing slabs. Let's see if Mona also is a talented slab climber. She's definitely taking her time, trying to find a good position because she knows she won't be able to reach that hold.
Oh, we're about to see another topper number 2. Very controlled.
Wow, good job to Emilia.
Yeah.
She's also a young climber and not as physically strong yet.
She made it comfortably.
She made it, yeah. And that last move's definitely hard or tough.
Okay, so a couple of tops now of number 2. That's not quite up to date, but here we go. Yeah. Emilia, as I say, her top not showing up just yet. Another look at this slab. It is a reasonably steep slab anyway, but the fact that the zone is on a volume that sticks out from the wall, I think it probably makes it feel even steeper because your hand is already 20 centimeters outside. Your left hand's already 20 centimeters or so off the wall. So a slab only in name.
Yeah, Lena's taking a step back, looking at the boulder again. And Mona's back on the slab.
Now, we saw a climber earlier on considering that method. I think that volume will be on pretty tight to the wall to prevent climbers crimping on it. Trying to squeeze the top.
Yeah, of course, that's not what the route setters want, to be actually crimping the end of the volume. But the climbers want to hold on to anything they can get their hands on. But she has to go a little bit more dynamically to that last hold.
Selena with less than 40 seconds to go has got a battle on her hands here.
Yeah, skin is always an issue, especially with the rough volumes. And if you climb 3 rounds, it's always hard to actually have enough skin.
So if the scores we've got are up to date, I don't think she's actually claimed the zone yet. Which is why, okay, well now she has.
That's also something that you can forget while climbing, that you have to touch the zone in order to get it. So even if you're always close, like in Selena's case, she really had to actually hold the zone and able to get it validated.
So we're now into the top half of the semi-final. Sandra Lettner, who qualified 10th and so climbs 11th in the semi-final. Climbing's only female Olympic champion so far, won the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires in 2018. Not a bad thing to have on your resume.
Yeah, and she was hopeful to get another ticket to the actual Olympic Games at the European Championship, but this has been postponed, obviously. We will see. And Sandra actually just finished high school, so she might not be in her top form in climbing yet, but she said that she's really looking forward to compete, as all the other athletes are as well, and she's just happy that she finished school.
Yeah, I was pretty happy I finished school, actually. I really don't miss that.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step in one's life. Laura has an interesting method on boulder number 3. It's also tricky, or the problem sometimes is that you find yourself in a position where you can't move anymore, but you gotta do something, because if you stay on the wall for too long, it really wears out, like your energy.
It's a really strange kind of fatigue in those pockets as well, hey. It just, you might tell me differently, but I always just feel like it's just straining my arm. I'm not really getting tired, but it's...
yeah, and the problem really is...
It's just pulling it for too... your forearm just feels like it's getting stretched.
Yeah, and in bouldering sometimes it's
another
decisive
top on number
to
2.
go for it, like Natalie did on number 2. Good job. Nice.
Yeah, another top on number 2. Here is Sandra Lettner. Yeah. Well, I mean, in theory, we have the European Championships later on this year. We hope it can go ahead, and Sandra will presumably be there. That's going to be an interesting competition.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And Sandra was already in Toulouse for the qualifying event.
Yeah.
She didn't quite manage to get an Olympic ticket, but yeah, at the moment I think she's happy. As I said, that she finished school and that she's now back on the mats, giving her best, trying to get as many tops as possible.
Right, so 3 climbers still out on the mats. Number 2 topped once more. Let's see what Laura does here. She was in a similar position to this for quite a long time. I think we'll have to just commit to a method. You can see the theory. You've got to swing round, release that right hand, swing round and grab the zone. Looks like she wants to do it without spinning around. And that's a good shot at that zone hold. You can see there's not a lot there. It's a small triangular volume hold thing, not very positive. Sandra Lettner, by the way, is underway again on number 1. Laura, I'm not surprised, shaking out on number 2.
Yeah, and Emma is giving it another go on number 4. She's one of the youngest competitors today, part of the Austrian youth team, and she's also climbing a lot outside. She's from the western part of Austria, Vorarlberg, where there are a lot of home crags, just like in Tyrol. Also close to Innsbruck, there are many crags. We're lucky to live in a mountainous area. And Laura's trying hard again on number 3, trying a knee bar method. That looks promising for her.
She spent a lot of time in this position.
Yeah.
I think she might just slap for this zone. And I think, I'm just looking at the time, it's about to run out. It could have been quite clever from her. I think she just went for the zone. So, second German climber out, Roxana Wienand.
Yeah, 2 Germans, 2 Austrians back on the mat. It is a kind of international comp. 4 Swiss climbers and 4 German climbers were invited to join. Other than that, we only have Austrians at the summer series.
Selina Schäuble down there on number 4 and Emilia Warensky on number 3. She found a top on number 2. I have to say, made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, no one topped 2 boulders so far, so it will be interesting.
Going full speed on number 1. Right, let's have a look at Emilia on number 3. Really accurate into that pocket, which you have to be. And is she going to try and match?
Trying a figure 4. Looks, nah, she decides against it. Oh, couldn't quite stick it. And now a very powerful boulder for Selina. These holds are definitely not good. But the route setters have to separate the climbers somehow. And as of now, we could see that the first 2 boulders are slightly easier, since we've already seen some tops on these 2. Number 3 and 4 are definitely the harder ones. And it'll be interesting to see who will get a top on those 2 boulders.
So she goes again. I don't think you can Okay, forget that.
Never say never, Charlie, in a bouldering competition, because there are always multiple methods. There might be the intended methods from the route setters, but climbers are also very creative. And if you're on the boulder, you just want to get up somehow, and you forget about the best methods. Emilia is taking a seat here. She's sitting down looking at the boulder. Sometimes that actually helps. Also helped me sometimes to actually take a step back, especially if you're not sure about the methods you're using.
What role do you think the lack of the crowd will make? Because I guess if you were in a final in the arena here in Innsbruck and there are 6,000 people looking at the back of your head, are you a bit reluctant to just sit and stare at the boulder, or do you have to just try and block the crowd? Whereas here, obviously, you can sit and look at the boulder and take a minute out, and no one
I guess it really
notices.
depends on your personality somehow. For me, it was always important to have the crowd behind me. I really enjoyed having that extra energy, and it made me even more try that little bit harder maybe. And I think Petra Klingler is feeling the same way or similar way. She's also a crowd enthusiast, I'd say. She really enjoys it if the crowd gives her that extra energy, and it will be interesting to see how the climbers will handle the situation right now, not having a crowd behind them, because only the other competitors, only the female competitors and the coaches are allowed to be here right now.
Yeah, we should say actually, we've said there's not many people in here. That is because you're not allowed to come and watch. So if you are in Innsbruck, I'm sorry, but it is media, coaches and officials only, and the climbers themselves. That's about it. But even the another top on number 2, that one's seeing a lot of traffic now. Even the men who will compete later are not allowed to come and watch the women's competition. So it really is quite strictly controlled. So as I say,
it's because
apologies.
the restrictions are really strict, and I guess it's for good reasons.
Yeah, and it's the same with other sports. Formula One there's no crowd. The soccer, the football has got going again across Europe with no crowds.
And also the restrictions, they would be a lot tougher if there were more than 100 people in here. And if the other competitors, like the male competitors, would watch, then there would be more. So that's why everyone, or the organizers, decided not to have to have a lot less than 100 people in here. Of course, everyone is still having a great distance, and everyone's wearing masks except for the climbers, and definitely feels a little bit more strange, but these are strange times. Now there's a very promising climber on boulder number 1, Kemp Lea from Vorarlberg. I'm really interested to see what she will be up to on boulder number 1, as well as Sandra Lettner on boulder number 2. I guess this is the boulder to make or to climb. 1 and 2 can be the decisive ones, I guess.
Yeah, remember 6 slots in the final, which will take place this evening. That's what the climbers are gunning for. But yeah, as you say, Lea Kempf, looking forward to seeing her. She's been a finalist in both lead and boulder in the European Youth Cups. So a bona fide all-rounder, and not too far off on that move to the zone. Sandra Lettner, you just saw on number 2 as well. Natalie out on number 3. And Laura Stuckler, she wasn't quite in the shot, but she's just trying number 4. There she is, right at the back. That first move on number 4 causing problems, let alone the remaining moves. I think once you get to the zone, it may feel slightly easier, but even the top move is no joke. So
3 and 4 are definitely the hardest problems in this round. That's for sure. Now Lea is trying to reach that crimp on boulder number 1, but she won't be able to reach it. She'll have to let go of the zone. Lena is also climbing a lot outside. She's also from Vorarlberg. And Yeah, she's bouldering, sport climbing, and even multi-pitch climbing outside. So she's very talented in all different aspects of climbing. And Natalie's going upside down on boulder number 3. Hard to reach that bonus.
Yeah. Don't use the B word.
Oh, zone.
Oops. I get fired for that. I'm only kidding. I still say it all the time anyway. The rules are you're not allowed to swear or say the word bonus. They're the banned words.
Should have introduced me to those rules earlier.
How long were you competing and you called it bonus all those years? I think we can forgive you.
Thank you.
So as it stands, 2 climbers in the middle, Natalie and Sandra just standing on the mats. And we can stick with Leia on number 1. Laura Stuckler's on number 4. Now the only climber off the mats, apart from Sandra, is just pulled back onto number 2 and can't.
And Laura's the first one to grab the zone on boulder number 4.
Yeah.
Good job. Now she has to go for it. Come on.
Oh, absolutely desperate this boulder. You're basically squeezing from the second you leave the floor.
And now Laura has to crimp really hard. Again, she won't be able to match that crimp because it's been blocked by the root setters.
Good to see some progress on number 4 though.
Yeah, definitely.
I was actually chatting to a couple of the setting team, and as we've discussed, very hard to find the level when you've got such a spread, but they said they basically, I might be about to see another top on number 1. I'll resume in a second. There it is. Well, you said you were looking forward to seeing her, and she's topped already, so off to a great start. Yeah, the route setters were saying they've set this maybe 1 notch below a World Cup,
Yeah.
but it's when you've got Petra Klingler, Jessie, they're hard boulders. As I say, maybe 1 tiny bit below a World Cup semi-final level. But no one knows what level that is now. The climbers don't really know where they're at. The route setters don't know where the climbers are at.
Yeah, that's true. It's really hard to get the level right, but I have a feeling that the route setters did a good job. And as we've already said, I mean, we have world champions here, we have the youth team here. It's hard to get it correct, but Sandra, top number 2.
Yeah, we've got Olympic champions here. She's found a top, and that will be it. Just in the nick of time for Sandra there. The way this semi-final is shaping up, only 6 people can go to the final. You probably need to get number 2 done, I would imagine.
Yeah, you would definitely need 2 or 3 tops, I would say, but that's a wild speculation.
I love wild speculation though.
Again, we have 2 Germans and 2 Austrians on the mats. Climbers are brushing the holds. They all have their own individual brush. It's another safety measure.
Yeah, as I understand it, the brushes get disinfected after a climber's used them.
I guess they have to because they hold it in their hands, as you know.
Yeah,
and,
so
I guess that's the reason why they have to disinfect it.
Yeah, so after the climber finishes boulder 4, they take it backstage, it's disinfected, and handed to the next climber. The new world.
Yeah, we'll have to be careful, and the Austrian Federation has worked out a concept which is definitely very strict, but this was the only way to actually have a competition, and I think the climbers are all happy to be back on the walls. It hasn't been easy to organize it with all these different safety measures, but it's been taken very seriously. And as we're speaking, Emilia Warynski is on the way to her top on boulder number 4, even chalking up. Come on, girl.
That's confidence.
Get it. No, or
You can see the elbows up on the left arm. She's getting
At
pumped.
some point, you gotta go for it, and she does it.
Okay, so boulder 4 is top. That means number 3, the only one not to be done yet.
Yeah, and she's the first one to actually complete 2 problems. She climbed boulder number 2 and boulder number 4 now. So she's setting the bar high. Young gun, Emilia Warinsky. Yeah, putting pressure on the older ones.
Mattea Puzzi has just got started on number 1 as well. Yeah, Emilia looking really strong.
Yeah, she did the physical boulder. I mean, that's definitely a little bit surprising. But maybe I just underestimated her. And now Mona is fighting very hard.
That was a good camera angle. You could see just how much effort was going in.
Yeah, and how you actually have to press over the left foot.
Really tough finish on those 2 boulders. You got number 3 where you're basically hanging from the pockets for long periods, and then number 4 is just a squeeze boulder, I think.
And it's also hard on your mind if you didn't do number 1, 2, and 3, and then you're at the 4th one. In bouldering, it's very important to actually forget about the rest. Every boulder counts, and you have to be focused on every single attempt.
I think it's one of the really interesting things about boulder that you basically reset every time. In virtually every sport, either your opponent's doing something and the game's evolving, or you've put yourself in a different position, a certain position by what you did before. But in boulder, you start literally from 0 every time. I think that's not quite unique in sport, but certainly very unusual.
Yeah, and it's very tactical as well, because you have to, your head game is really important for sure. Mattea on boulder number 1. She looks comfortable in that position, but somehow she has to change feet and move her right foot up.
Okay, so number 4 empty after Emilia topped. 1 minute to go now for the other 3 climbers. Mattea looking pretty comfy on number 1. Took her hands off briefly. Okay, can't figure that one out.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a dynamic start on the slab on boulder number 1. Then you're kind of in a good position, but now where Mattea is in now, she really has to go for it. There's no other way. She can't span it. She needs to put the weight on her feet and let go of the end.
Nicely set boulder as well, because the climbers haven't found a way to get around it.
Yeah, they're interesting. Also for us, I think they're really interesting to watch, because there are always multiple methods, and it's hard to predict what the climbers are going to do.
The Sia Dorfel now, the 3rd and final German climber in this semi-final, makes her way out. All 3 nationalities represented on the stage now. Sandra Lettner comes out again, having top number 2. Natalie over there at the far end on number 4.
Yeah, all the 3 nationalities that we have here in this summer series are on the mats right now.
Laura Struckler's just walked into the seating area. Doesn't actually look too tired. It looked like she was working hard on that 4th boulder.
Yeah, she definitely was. It was really close for her.
Found a zone actually, as you said, she was the first person to find the zone on number 4. But right now she's down in 4th place. Probably, sadly for her, not going to be enough. Sandra so controlled on that. We just cut to her as she rotated through on number 3.
Could be her boulder. We'll see. She really has to gain height now. She has to. No, not yet. Takes a step back. Now Lucia on boulder number 1 takes a very dynamic approach.
So here she goes again on number 1.
She's the German lead and boulder champion, Lucia, from last season, obviously, not this season.
That's pretty good going. If you're the best lead and boulder climber in Germany.
And as we can see, Emilia is leading the pack. Young Emilia Warensky from Innsbruck, 16 years young. She climbed 2 boulders. Nobody did that so far, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of other tops as well.
She's got a long wait now. Natalie, when she finishes, is the 9th climber out, so more than half the field yet to finish. Some of the climbers yet to start, but we're less than halfway through the finishes. She's not quite figuring out this first move on number 1, Lucia.
Yeah, a lot of women had problems on this move where Sandra is at right now, but she's totally in control. You could see that her level of power might be slightly above the others that we've seen so far, but now she has to rock over and get high enough. And Lea is on top of number 2. 2 tops, 2 boulders for young Lea Kempf. Nice job.
Yeah, first climber to top both of the first 2. And that is that's the 9th top of that boulder, number 2. Here goes Lucia Dörfel.
He really doesn't like that first move. Somehow you have to be fast enough to actually reach that bonus hold and push over your right foot. Very tricky move. Come on.
Almost a year ago, she was 3rd in the combined in Arco at the Youth World Championships 2019, which obviously followed the main World Championships. That was quite a month. Okay, here she goes again, setting up on number 1. She hasn't quite found the timing on this move yet. Yeah, she's going with the right hand. It's kind of tricky to do it that way.
Yeah, I think we've seen climbers palm the lower volume with the right hand and go to the bonus with the left. But it's so hard to predict what method is actually right for the climber.
Yeah.
Natalie was really close on boulder number 4 now. She's unbelievable. She's one of the oldest competitors out here right now. She's only 26. But we really have the older generation versus the youth team right now. And Sandra manages to get to...
Are we about to see a top on number 3? She's got to get this top move right, Sandra Lettner. With 2 seconds to spare, she finds the top, first top of number 3, so they've all been done now.
I call that timing. Good job, Sandra.
Yeah,
wow.
2 seconds to spare.
And
she looks a bit tired. Probably best not to look at number 4, actually. Just worry about it when you get out, because it's a burly boulder.
Yeah, but she didn't do number 1. She Sandra top 2 and 3, and I think sometimes it gives you the motivation to do another boulder if you know that in the back of your head you know that you didn't do something and you're maybe a little bit angry at yourself, and that gives you the extra motivation to push even harder on one or the other problems, and that was what Sandra did.
So Jessie Pilz is out on number 4, a bona fide climbing superstar.
Yeah, I guess there's no need to introduce her. But she's obviously the world champion. She's qualified for the Olympics, and she'll definitely be looking for a strong performance here at the Austrian Summer Series.
Yeah, she had an interesting season last year, Jessie. Her lead seemed to be a bit lower than the year before, but her boulder made huge progress.
Yeah, and it's hard for the athletes because I mean, the Olympics will be the combined format, so you have to be strong in all formats. And
another top there for Mattia on number 2. That one's seeing a lot of traffic now. I think that was the 10th top.
Yes, the second boulder might be the easiest of this round. And now
Yeah.
we'll see.
Sorry, you were saying about the Olympic combined.
I was just saying that it's hard to combine actually all these three disciplines. And Jessie had an amazing season in 2018. She won her first World Cup, and I think she never placed worse than second in lead. So 2018 was definitely her season. Last year was not as successful for her, but the most important thing, she qualified for the Olympic Games, which was her big goal, and yeah, that's what she's preparing for, obviously.
Such a shame that the Olympics has had to be moved, but well, yeah.
I mean, what could you do?
Yeah, it had to be
that's how it
moved.
is, and
Yeah.
I guess nobody.
It was the
would have
right
expected
decision,
to
but
go
it's
to
just
Tokyo, yeah.
everyone was looking forward to it.
Of course, first time for climbing in the Olympics, but I'm hopeful that it'll happen next year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and it's always so hard if you get out onto the mats and the first boulder is a slab where you have to control your feelings somehow.
So this boulder's just been topped by Sandra Lettner. Oh, and if that left foot had stayed where it was, that was looking quite promising.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a problem I have to deal with, but surely your hair would drive you mad, falling in your face like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone has different approach to that. Jessie's looking very stable now on boulder number 1. She has no problem getting to the zone, but now that's the decisive move of going up to this right-hand crimp. She takes her time. Of course, it's not easy being the favorite of the field. Everyone's watching Petra and Jessie, of course, because these are the two to watch. And yeah, let's hope that she'll find the right method in this last minute.
Another climber from Haag.
Exactly, yeah. Haag is in the eastern part of Austria, and there are a lot of climbers. Jessie, Laura, Eva and Lena, 4 of the Austrian team members, are from Haag. Of course, right now Jessie lives in Innsbruck and is training at the Kletterzentrum.
It's close that time. Any idea why that relatively small part of Austria produces so many good climbers?
There's a good community, and they are very motivated coaches. I think maybe that's why that region has a lot of aspiring climbers.
Here's Franziska Sterra. Made a couple of semi-finals back in 2018 in the World Cups, Moscow and Vale. Vale, always a place you enjoyed?
Yeah, Vale is great. Definitely a place I always enjoyed. Franzi was in the semi-final there, and I'm sure she also has good memories of the World Cup there.
Didn't you do 10 years in a row going to Vale?
Yeah, that's true. 10 years of Vale, 10 years of high altitude always makes you breathe super hard. And the difference to climbing in Innsbruck is that Innsbruck is at an elevation of around 600 meters. Vale is above around 1,200.
No, Vale's it's about 2.5. Really, it's so hard. I mean,
okay, that's why you're breathing so hard. You're right.
Yeah. No, it's. I think it's. I believe it's higher than any town in Europe. I'm a geek about this.
It's true that actually you can really feel the difference.
Yeah.
And if you're climbing in Innsbruck, for example, you can have many attempts, whereas in Vale, you can have 3 good attempts, and that's about it.
Yeah, someone from Vale might correct me, but I believe it's just over 8,000 feet. So, I mean, that's like training at the top of the Nordkette.
Yeah.
The cable car just out the back here of Innsbruck. It's a humongous difference.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll have a comp up there. There's just a cable car outside the town. It's a famous ski resort. It's great for winter. Yeah, so far we had comps in Innsbruck for a very long time, either at the Marktplatz, where you can see the mountain range behind, or at the Olympic Stadium. Right now we're in the athletics arena, right behind the Kletterzentrum. And Lea is trying hard on boulder number 3.
Trying the rotation method. Interesting how many climbers are leading with their feet. Instead of looking at it, you look like you just want to go quickly.
Yeah, the problem is, if you look at it from the mat, it might seem logical, but if you're there in the boulder, you always have a different approach to it and a different feeling. And sometimes you want to have all your feet and hands on the wall because it saves energy, obviously. And always hard to pick the right method.
So Sandra Lettner, who's just pulling on for another attempt on number 4, she's got 2 tops. She's currently in 2nd place.
Yeah, she can be the first one with 3 tops because we've seen a top on number 4 for Emilia.
Yeah, this could be huge for Sandra Lettner. If she could find 3 tops, there's a long way to go, but I think that might well be enough for a place in the final. Number 3 still not seen anyone else top it apart from her, so she'd be in an incredibly strong position if she could get 3 tops.
But it looks really, it looked promising, but she takes a look at the watch. Not quite. She has some time to go.
Yeah, she's got all 4 zones as well now.
Yeah, that puts her in a nice spot for sure. But we would love to see a top from her on boulder number 4.
2 tops, 4 zones would be a nervous wait. So only 3 climbers still to come. Johanna Ferber will be out next, then Petra Klingler, and then Eva Maria Hammelmüller, who we've heard from at the start of the broadcast.
One last minute for the climbers to complete the boulders. Lea is trying the method without feet now.
It makes you realise how bad that pocket that she's got her left hand in is, because you want to. It looks like you want to go quickly.
Yeah, that was tough. Wow, I mean, definitely hard to keep that much power. Now Franzi is on the wall, boulder number 1.
Another top
to get
on number 2, Lucia Dorfel. That one's seeing a lot of tops now. Time beginning to run out for Sandra Lettner, but I think she's got her left hand in place, which is what she wanted earlier. She could be in a really good position here.
Boulder number 2, she had 2 seconds back on the clock, and now, nice.
Sandra Lettner again with 2 seconds to go. Finds the top. First climber with 3 tops. She's got all 4 zones. I think Sandra Lettner's looking pretty good for a place in the final there, but
yeah, she's definitely looking good for the finals, and she's the one who has perfect timing today. Amazing. Boulder number 3, she topped with 2 seconds on the clock, and boulder number 4 without a second on the clock.
It's lucky it wasn't the final, because you only get 4 minutes. Sandra using every second on a couple of the boulders. Here's Johanna Ferber, a World Cup finalist at senior level. You might remember a couple of years ago now, how on earth is that 2 years ago, but it was 2 years ago in Tai'an, underneath Mount Tai'an in China, just not too far from Beijing. She made the final there. A World Cup that might always be remembered for Alex Kazanov's unfamily friendly shout from the top of one of the boulders. A great event, actually. Quite a cool town as well, and I remember Johanna Ferber making the final there and just being in complete disbelief. Here she is a couple of years on in the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, and just had a couple of attempts at number 1, but no success just yet. So Mattea Puzzi now on number 3, getting set up. Got to go high on this volume, and we've seen that with a couple of climbers. The left foot goes just at the crucial moment.
But it was her first attempt and it looked actually promising. She was latching up and trying to get very high. Mattea has already had one top on boulder number 2. Roxana didn't get a top yet. So she might be able to top the last one to finish in style. And Johanna is back on the slab.
Yeah, Jessie Pilz, by the way, is on number 2. Hasn't done it yet and didn't get number 1 done. So to stand a chance to make the final, even at this stage, I think Jessie needs to get number 2 done. She's got time on her side, but needs to start making some progress. Let's have a look at Johanna.
Johanna is actually a very technical climber, so I would think that she can do the slab. She can do it for sure, but I think that she might be able to do it in these 5 minutes. She likes slabs. Not quite. A little bit more commitment is needed for Jo at problem number 1. And Jessie sticks the dyno at boulder number 2. I would be surprised if she would have problems going to the top. That should be her move. Come on, nicely done. Yeah.
Good work from Jessie. Needed that one. We already have a climb with 3 tops.
It's tough if you come out as the favorite of the field. You're not able to do number 1. It puts a lot of pressure on the athletes, and I think Jessie is very happy that she actually topped number 2 now. It's important for her to forget number 1, to just continue onwards, and then she won't be having a problem going to the finals.
Yeah, she was ranked first. She was wearing the number 1 jersey, Jessie Pilz. So as you say, bit of pressure in Johanna Faber. Fun to watch, but shame it didn't end quite how we wanted.
I get so nervous while watching.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Especially if someone drops the top like Johanna on number 1 now.
But really nice method. Realised she wasn't going to control the crimp and just instantly went for the top.
Yeah.
And it almost worked. Buzzers just sounded to signify 1 minute to go.
Let's hope that she has the feeling now. Sometimes it helps if you're close to the top, then you know that you actually got it in you. You have the self-confidence to actually do it, and let's hope that this will be the case for Johanna Faber now on problem number 1.
I wonder if she'll try that method again.
Yeah.
Yes. Really nice timing.
Yeah, good job.
She never really stopped.
No, and I think actually that attempt before gave her the self-confidence to know that she has it in her, that she can top the boulder, and that definitely, she did that in a very smooth way.
So for 7 seconds the mat's empty, and our first chance to see in the semi-final Petra Klingler, the 2016 Boulder World Champion. What a day that was in Paris, over 4 years ago. You were in that final, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, Petra is a world champion. She qualified for the Olympics. She's definitely the one to watch. She sets the standard very high now. It'll be interesting to see how it works out for her.
Always enjoyable to watch Petra as well. She always looks like she's having fun, which I like.
Yeah, she always has a huge smile on her face. Also at the World Championship in Paris, I remember that. She has won 1 World Cup so far and the World Championships, and I think at the time she was surprised herself maybe a little bit, and yeah, her smile was contagious. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, I mean, last August as well, when she realised she made it into the Olympics, she was incredibly emotional in Japan. But like all the climbers, has to wait an extra year.
Yeah,
really powerful way of doing that move from Lucia Dörfel.
Now she has to press over. Come on, Lucia. that crimp there going off is not good.
That's Franziska Sterra there on the right of the shot, about to try number 2. Let's have a look at Petra.
Yeah, Franzi said yesterday that she's just so happy to be back on the mats because she was injured last year and she just wants to get that hump feeling back so bad. And yeah, Petra's looking in control. She's a competitor at heart, I would say. I guess she's missing the crowd right now. She's one of those women who really like to have a crowd behind her. And as you all know, there are a lot of empty seats due to the safety restrictions.
Let's see how looks like she's looking for a different method. A lot of climbers have done this. They've looked for a different method, and she's going to try it without holding the zone. It was already smiling, ironically, by the time she fell.
Yeah, I think sometimes you try a certain method, and while trying, you find out that that's not the way. The good thing is that you know the way for the next time, or you know how to do it differently next try.
I think you can get away with not topping one of these boulders today, but I think
maybe you could even get away with 2 tops, a lot of zones.
Yeah, maybe.
But you'll definitely need a lot of zones then.
But I'm just thinking that on. I think we've had 3 tops on number 1.
We had 3 tops on 3 tops on number 1. Yes,
yeah.
Because Lea, Lena, and Jo just did it.
So it's certainly not it's not an easy boulder by any means, but you can get your round off to a really good start if you can get it done.
And for your
decreases
head, it's always
the pressure.
easier, psychologically speaking. If you do the first boulder, you got a good feeling. Otherwise, you have to try and get back into that groove. And Petra is struggling at the moment, but.
I've always thought it must be one of the biggest challenges in boulder to not think about the last one.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, if you go out and you actually are able to climb the first boulder, it gives you self-confidence, it gives you a boost. But if you don't do it, and especially if you're the favorite, like Jessie or Petra are right now,
and you've been in that position before.
Yeah, it definitely puts some pressure on you. And yeah, you need to be able to concentrate on one boulder at a time. Yeah, that's it for Petra.
Oh,
I think she won't let go anymore.
Petra's held it this time.
Nice
Good start from Petra. 38 seconds left on the clock. She used a lot of attempts. We'll wait till the scores update, figure out exactly how many attempts it was. I think at least 5 or 6. Yeah, you see, my hear me out, okay? Don't laugh.
I won't, I promise.
The sport that I think boulder is most like is golf, because you just walk up to the ball and the whole situation is reset. You have to get from A to B, and nothing's in flux. The opponent isn't doing anything. You walk up kind of fresh to the ball every time. It's just my theory.
I mean, I don't watch golf, I have to admit.
I don't watch golf
you caught
either.
Me there. You caught me off guard.
It's a bit of a weak theory, but I was trying to think of a sport that compares.
And we have the last one out on a mat. Am I correct? This is...
Yeah, it's Eva Maria. You can see there, Sandra Lettner, 3 tops, 15 attempts to get them, which I think is a sign of good route setting.
Oh, definitely.
You had to work for them. But the longer this semi-final goes on, the longer I think 3 tops will pretty much guarantee you a place in the final.
Yeah, especially because the 2 favorites were struggling now on number 1. I think that 3 tops will almost definitely be enough.
Well, after Mattea Puzzi, who we're looking at now, who's on number 4, there'll only be 6 climbers left to finish. Here's Eva Maria Hammelmuller, one of the taller climbers. Let's see, I still don't think she'll be able to span this.
Yeah, and of course for Eva, it's a new situation to be in. She's in an international comp now as the leader, and that's definitely a strange situation sometimes because everyone's watching her now and she's aware of it.
Top from Johanna Faber. Also got the job done on number 1.
And Jessie's the second woman to top number 3.
Yeah, Jessie looking strong on number 3. Top's coming thick and fast now.
Nice one. Yeah, that gives her definitely a confident boost for the last one, and she has enough power to do the 4th one as well. I have no doubt about it. And now, as I said, Eva is being watched because it makes a difference if all the other athletes, or if 2 other athletes are not on the mats anymore. She knows that they topped. She knows that she's supposed to top, and I think it's a good training for her as well because she hasn't been used to this kind of pressure yet.
Must be very hard to not pay attention to the fact that other people have topped. And
yeah, it's important to control your nerves somehow, but it's not as easy. And bouldering sometimes is definitely a head game. We'll see if Eva is able to block that out, and it looks like it's. And now
this is looking pretty promising for Mattea on number 4. She's got the left hand on the crimp and both hands on the top. So that one sees another top.
Okay, now Mattea did 2 tops.
Yeah, 2 tops and 4 zones.
Nice. That puts her in a good spot. But there are only 6 places for finals. And yeah, we'll see. That's what Eva knows as well. I hope she's not thinking about that right now.
She's in a good position now. Actually matches the crimp and matches the top. She looked so strong yesterday. I came down to watch some of the qualifiers and I actually saw all her climbs, and the first couple of boulders you think, oh yeah, she looks good, and then by the end she cruised everything.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, as I said, climbing is a mental game sometimes, and it'll be interesting to see how Eva can handle the pressure of having Jessie and Petra right in front of her. Because sometimes it can also motivate you, you know, if you know that, okay, these are the ones to beat, I want to be as strong as them, I'm going to give everything. If they top, I can top as well. And it can also go in the other direction of putting you under pressure and being like, and you can be self-doubting. But since Eva topped the first one, she's in a good spot. I think it'll give her a self-confidence boost, and it'll be interesting to see her on the other 3 boulders.
As you say, it's an amazing experience. I've talked to a couple of climbers who've said they get in the warm-up zone and they're kind of freaked out by the fact they're standing next to Janja or Akio, or so it's a really good experience for her, like you say, to try and mix it with the best.
Yeah, and that you actually know, okay, I can compete with those women. I can also be the one who puts them under pressure, maybe, which is also interesting.
I mean, did you go through that process where you suddenly realised that these people are human? And
oh yeah, definitely. Back in the time, Sandrine Levet, French woman, won everything. She was the one to beat. And I always thought that, I mean, she was the Janja Garnbret, you could say. And I always thought that second place is possible, but first place, that's Sandrine. And it's interesting once the moment arrives when you actually realize that you can be on the top of the podium,
So we're actually done with boulder number 1. That is it.
Focus on number 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, worked well. Slabs sometimes aren't always as entertaining to watch, but I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting slab. And I am looking forward to see Petra on number 2, Franzi on number 3, and Lucia on number 4. Yeah, Franzi really wants to get a top here. She was not able to top 1 and 2, so she'll be really motivated to get this one done. Come on.
The final stats, by the way, on boulder 1, it was topped 5 times. So a quarter of the field topping it. And not the first climber we've seen kind of getting tied up and those volcano holes tucked under there.
So far, number 2 seems to be the easiest boulder of this set. It's been topped more than 10 times. Boulder number 1 5 times. Boulder number 3 2 times. And boulder number 4 3 times.
Yeah, again, the level seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. I really enjoy watching these boulders, watching the different methods. Let's see if Petra actually goes to the pocket or if she stops at the black volume.
As we mentioned, with only 5 climbers topping Boulder 1, there are 6 places in the final, so if you can get it done, you're already in a really, really strong position.
Yeah, but sometimes the set is so different. You know, the slab, some climbers really favor slabs and then have a hard time at boulder number 2, for example.
Could be about
others like the more powerful problems, like Lucia. She just topped the powerful one, 4th. Sadly, it won't help her advance. And Petra stopped.
Yeah, I
don't
think
she gave that away.
I think Petra will like some of the boulders that are still to come. Ooh, just came up a little short on the top hold.
Oh.
We had the perfect camera angle actually, looking
Yeah, and
straight
I just
down.
said the complete wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry, Petra. I was sure that she'd stick it, but I think she's sure that she will now. Not sure why she has her wrist taped.
I hear rumours of a mountain bike crash.
Oh, okay.
No, minor injury on her thumb apparently. No problem at all that time. You're absolutely right. I don't think it will come back to haunt her, but she might be a bit frustrated by that, Petra. I think maybe just didn't give it quite enough the first time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, she wants to climb the boulder as fast as possible. If possible, of course, she wants to flash these boulders, and she knows that she took some attempts, so she might not be 100% confident.
1 minute left for Franziska Stera. Another
yeah, and
method
Franzi
again.
really wants to get the top here. She was not able to top the first 2.
She's in a good position now.
But she should be able to do number 3, even if it's the hardest boulder. Come on, Franzi.
You can just see it from her movements,
Yeah, that looks
jerking, fatigue really kicking in. But she's
Nice
really
one.
in a solid position now. Top beckons, hopefully. She's on the good part of that volume.
Come on, get it. Come on. Yes.
Summarises her round, really. Frustration.
Yeah. Oh.
It was a
she
good
won.
fight. She looked tired from kind of when she got to the zone onwards. You could see she was jerky in her movements.
Yeah, she didn't look satisfied. I mean, I can understand. She has 3 problems and she didn't do them yet. And now we're back with Petra, Jo, and Jessie back on the mats. Strong field of women out there right now.
Yeah, strong trio. In Maria, actually, we're in the athletics hall. She sprinted across the mat. It's like the 40-yard dash. She wants to get on with it.
Yeah, definitely. She has a lot of energy. A young climber with a lot of energy, and I think she really wants to put pressure on all the climbers today. Which, yeah. And Eva's the first one to start. It's not surprising.
And stops on the black volume as well. And
That
looking
looked really strong, I have to admit.
looking really strong.
That looked in control. Come on, Eva. Yes, and a flash on boulder 2.
Wow.
She's having a good time.
Well, the form from yesterday is carried on. We've seen this with some climbers. We call people. Maybe it's not very nice to say it, but some people are the queen of qualifying, so they're good on the qualifying day and then don't quite translate it. But she is not having that problem so far.
I think it really has to do with the pressure that you have if you qualified in a good spot.
Yeah.
Then you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and maybe also some pressure comes from the outside, and it's hard to work up to this pressure. And,
could be about C2 tops here, by the way. Johanna Faber looking good on number 3, Jessie on number 4.
Yeah, and Jo actually just finished her third boulder, her third top. She completed her third top for 3 boulders, 1 to go. So that puts her in a very comfortable position. And Jessie finished her round with 3 tops.
So maybe 3 tops won't be enough. More climbers hitting 3 tops. Nobody yet with a clean sweep of 4.
No, Jo can be the first one if I am not mistaken.
Who's that, sorry?
Yeah, because Jo will be the first one to be on the last boulder with 3 in her pocket already.
Exactly, yeah.
So
it's always the way during a semi-final. You think, I don't know why I make predictions. It's like the habit I can't kick.
It's very hard to predict, but I think we are right, or it is a good prediction and a little bit of a speculation that you'll be through with 3 tops.
You can see there, Johanna Faber, that's not come through yet. She's actually got 3 tops and 3 zones, so she will shoot up the order. Petra Klingler in a good position as well. 2 tops on the first 2 boulders she's attempted, and a bit lower down the order. Frustration for Emma Sophia, Franziska Sterra. Natalie Bett, she got close on a couple, but couldn't quite convert them. Everybody claiming at least a zone though. We've had rounds in the World Cups in the past few years where some people have just been stopped on everything. I'm thinking Munich last year, for example. But the level seems about right so far, and we still think that 3 tops should find your place in the final. 2 tops, 4 zones might be enough.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if you wouldn't see 4 tops. I believe that Johanna, Petra and Eva might be able to complete this round with 4 tops. We'll see how it works out in the end.
You see there, 1 minute 20 left on the clock. Remember, it's not like the final. The climbers don't just come out whenever they're ready. We have to wait the entire 5 minutes so they get their statutory rest period. And it's been a very interesting semi-final. It's just nice to have climbing back on the screen. It's felt like an awfully long time since Los Angeles and Toulouse before that.
It's definitely exciting to watch, to commentate. And I'm also looking forward to see these last couple of climbers on these last problems. So far we've actually seen a generation fight, you could say, because Petra is one of the oldest competitors today. Jessie is not that old, but she's been on the circuit for a long time, versus Eva, who's definitely a young gun. Also, Jo has a lot of World Cup starts already. So
we've also got the men's semi-final coming up after this. That'll be at 1 o'clock Innsbruck time, Central European time, and then we've got the women's final and the men's final this evening. It's going to be a long day for our vocal cords, but it's just great to have it back. Lemon and ginger tea, I think is going to be the order of the day. We've got lots of talking to do today, but what a pleasure to have climbing back on the screens. So Petra Klingler now, 2 tops on the first 2 boulders, a climber who has the potential to get all 4 done. We'll know that all 4 have been done, because regardless of whether she's heard anything backstage, the wall was empty for the last 3 minutes, so she will have known that everything has been topped.
Yeah, that's also a hard position to be in. If it's not your round, you can't get you can't climb up to your own expectations. It's hard to not be unsatisfied. But while being on the mat, you have to concentrate on climbing, and I hope that Franzi will be able to do that, and she'll be able to get off the mat with another top, or with her first top. She looks in control so far, Petra on boulder number 3.
Well, yeah, also competes in ice climbing, of course, Petra. So this kind of movement, quite reminiscent actually of
Yeah,
modern day
that's true.
ice climbing and dry tooling.
I mean, she's a multi-talented athlete, and she loves competing. She has been competing, as you said, first in the Bouldering World Cup, and then the winter in the Ice Climbing World Cup. So she's a competitor at heart, and
She's looking
get
really strong as
top
well.
right now. Yes.
Well, I mean, she hasn't got, obviously, fourth zone might make all the difference, but this is going perfectly so far for Petra. Three boulders, 3 tops.
It's been interesting to see Petra's round, because at the first 2 boulders, I think she was not 100% satisfied because she needed a lot of attempts and she looked a little bit less in control. Whereas now on boulder number 3, you could see that she's the world champion.
Yeah, that was a flash of number 3.
Yeah, perfectly done.
Interestingly enough, that boulder's been topped 4 times and 3 of them were flashes, which I think probably tells you about how much energy it requires. If you start using 2, 3, 4 attempts, it's pretty difficult to find the top.
Yeah, and it's definitely on the steeper part of the wall, so it requires a lot more power. You have to know when to actually make attempts. If you make too many attempts, it might drag you down.
You're very much part of the Innsbruck climbing scene. This wall, has this been used before at World Cup level?
The wall we're seeing right now?
Does it live here?
It's the old World Championship wall from the Innsbruck World Championship in 2018.
Ah, right.
If you remember, it was in the Olympic Stadium.
And has it been in use since then?
It has been in use since February.
Here at the Kletterzentrum?
Not in the Kletterzentrum, but in the athletics arena.
Right.
The Austrian Climbing Federation has a deal with the Austrian Athletics Federation, because the venue we're here right now, is actually used by the athletics team, and they were able to use this facility to train on this wall since February, for some, not all the time, but a little bit. And now Franzi is trying to get a top. Come on. Unfortunately, that's the wrong hand.
She's not fallen, by the way. We got a close-up just as her hand disappears. She's still on the boulder. There she is.
Yeah, she needs to get it with the left hand. That's
just resetting. Yeah. Trying to reset.
Yeah,
and that's 1 minute to go. She's got time to go again, but you could see the back of her shoulders was red.
She knows
that blood flowing into it. So much effort going in. Has she got enough energy for another go?
She knows she can, but it's very hard if in the back of your head you know that this was not your round. Sorry for Franzi. That's it for her.
So I don't think, let's just see where that leaves her. Now well down the order, sadly.
Yeah.
No tops. It's disappointing after a really good day yesterday, qualified 4th, but it's not her day today. This is the scores as they stand. As I say, Eva Maria Hammelmuller will be out next on boulder 3. Could make it 3 tops on 3 boulders.
And we could see the first one to complete this round with 4 tops. That's Johanna Felber on problem number 4. She has 3 tops so far, and she can be the first one to complete this round with 4 tops.
Yeah, she took 5 attempts on number 1, 3 attempts on number 2, and then flashed the 3rd one, which is probably the right order to do it in, because you didn't use too much energy on number 3.
Yeah, that's true. If you could think about that beforehand, it's actually perfect. You're right.
Quite sensibly, I think, not jumping in, neither climber jumping in. Very physical boulders, so get them clean first, try and make the first attempt count.
Yeah, it's important, especially if you're at the end of the field, to brush your holds. Sometimes it happens that especially the youth climbers forget about it. They just start right away. But yeah, it's important to brush the chalk off, because it makes the friction a little bit better. It's also interesting to see the tactics, because we've seen some very young climbers like Lena or Emma who've been having a lot of attempts.
Full gas.
Yeah, full gas. Yeah. Whereas the more advanced or more used to the World Cup climbers really take their time.
So here she goes, Eva Maria. This is her first attempt. She's looking so strong. The form from yesterday was not a one-off.
Wow.
She is a serious contender. That is 3 tops on the first 3 boulders.
Nice one.
Only the first one she didn't flash. She flashed number 2, flashed number 3.
Yeah, it could be theoretically another wild speculation from my side. It could be that Eva will lead the pack again, and then she'll be the last one going out in finals. Yeah.
What a day. So Johanna Faber, I mean, if she can get a zone, then I think she'd probably find it be enough for a place in the final anyway, but a top would be an amazing result.
Yeah, come on, Yo. She has to get it, yeah.
Yeah, so she's got the zone. I think that'll be enough for her. But she could be the first climber with 4 tops, and she's going up with the correct hand. That's the left hand.
Wants to get a top. Come on, Yo. Looking good. Come on. Now she has to set up for that last
Yeah,
move.
she's not quite happy in the position.
She's changing feet right now. Could be the way to go. And there she's got it.
Oh, that is as calm as you like. 4 boulders, 4 tops. She's the first climber to achieve that. She'll be in the final this evening.
Nice one. She puts the pressure on Petra and Eva, who both have 3 tops so far. Yeah, so I think the route setters, they did an amazing job. Worked out really well.
As I say, scores are not quite up to date. Johanna Faber's about to jump to the top of that leaderboard. 4 tops on the 4 boulders. So that is her in the final. Only 2 climbers still to complete their rotation. That's Petra Klingler and Eva Maria.
And interesting to see at the scores, I just saw that our youngest climbers, Lena, Lea and Emma, are in the top 10.
The future is promising for Austrian climbing. So is the current, so is the past. We just keep churning out these incredible climbers. But that's the top 6 as they stand. So Petra and Eva Maria already in the top 6. So that means we have our finalists.
Yeah, we already have our finalists.
Yes.
And young Emilia is the first one not to be in finals with a very promising 7th place. I'm sorry, I said Emma before. I meant Emilia, Lea and Lena. Those are the 3 young guns. And we have the 6 finalists are confirmed already.
So a little bit of pressure off the last 2, although it would be nice to go into the final in first place. Don't want to give your rivals any advantage, but they know that they may or may not know that Petra and Eva Maria will be in the final. They will be the 6 finalists.
It's interesting, some climbers like to go out last, others don't. So even if in semi-finals you qualified in first place, this might put a lot of pressure on you when you go out last in finals. But Eva has been handling the situation for semi-finals very well so far. And we'll see who will actually qualify in first for finals tonight.
Here's Petra, 5 minutes begins for her. Went well in the qualifiers yesterday, gone well in the semi-finals so far today. Had 1 or 2 problems with injuries down the years, Petra, and still, as I say, got some tape on that right hand, but seems to be pretty close to top form right now. Certainly from what we've seen on the boulders so far today. And as calm as you like, comes out and brushes the holes before she does anything.
Takes a good look at the boulder, which is also important. Usually she looks at the boulder for around 50 seconds to a minute. And yeah, she looked a little bit nervous in the first 2 problems. Or nervous, but It took her some attempts, although she flashed number 3, and maybe she can even flash this last boulder now.
Looks very smooth on that first move. It's a lot more physical than she made it look, and the same on that move. Just stops as soon as she gets the hold.
She looks completely in competition mode right now. I mean, I think, wow.
Petra is pathing this, to use some British climbing slang.
Yes, nice.
Oh, no problem at all for Petra. That was certainly the easiest anyone's made it look.
Yeah, that's true. And she's done it. Second one after Johanna Felber to complete 4 boulders.
Yeah, it'll come down to attempts. I think Johanna will lead. Yeah, she will lead. She's used less attempts, so she'll stay ahead of Petra.
Yeah, as I said, Petra used some attempts in the first 2 boulders. She didn't look 100% satisfied. But once she came out to the third one, she looked a different person to me. She looked completely in the zone. And yeah, I mean, you shouldn't forget that these climbers didn't have a competition for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if Petra entered the Lead World Cups at the end of the season, but I think this could be her first competition action since the World Championships.
They had a Swiss Cup in this year, 2020, so that was but only a national comp, of course, no international one. But she placed second first at that Swiss Cup. Yeah, but it's a special situation these athletes are in.
Just had a message, by the way, from Eddie, the IFSC photographer. It's strange to have a competition without Eddie coming up and giving me all the inside information in between the rounds. He said my golf analogy was surprisingly good.
Your goal?
My golf analogy.
Nice one.
He said it was surprisingly good. I think there's a compliment in there.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
I would see that as a compliment as well.
Good call from Eddie as well. He said like rally driving, the same. You know, you start every stage fresh. You've never seen it before. I try. Yeah, Eddie watching down in New Zealand.
Yeah,
hopefully we'll all be able to meet up soon.
Due to the safety measurements or safety requirements, no photographers are allowed either. So it's a very strict concept. Austria Climbing was only able to pull this off because there are very strange or very strict restrictions, all due to the coronavirus, of course. And this is also why we only see 4 Germans and 4 Swiss women taking part today. We would have loved to invite the whole world. Obviously, the World Cup in Innsbruck would have been held in May, but that was not possible. And yeah, the Ministry of Sport decided that Austrian Federation could invite Swiss and German athletes, but nobody else. So
this is
all the photographers and all the other climbers are not here, sadly.
Certainly got a very strange feeling to it. This is Johanna Felber, by the way, topping out number 4. Little readjust before she found the top. Yeah, it's quite funny actually, sitting here talking, look at the monitor, reading my notes, it just feels the same. And then you look up at this empty hall with chairs 2 meters apart. It was weird. Yesterday I came to watch the qualifying. I got put in a special seat with my name on it. And you're not allowed to move and go and talk to anyone else.
Yeah, I mean the restrictions are strict, but
they're necessary.
We wouldn't be able to have a comp if they weren't in place. So I think the athletes are happy to have a comp to be able to compare themselves again. You can see that, for example, Eva is having a great time out there.
I mean, I'm sure you know her better than I do, but she really seems like the real deal.
She seems in very good shape, and I know that she's been climbing a lot outside. She lives in Innsbruck right now. She's studying English and sport at the University of Innsbruck, and when the shutdown or once the restrictions were eased, once we were able to climb outside again, Eva was the first to be out on the rocks.
Yeah, she's had a good spring and summer, hey?
Yeah, exactly. She's climbed 8 sport climbs, and yeah, so her training was definitely efficient, and it will be interesting to see whether she can also flash this boulder.
Yeah, if she can get this one done pretty quickly, I think, just glancing at the scores, I think if she can do it in less than 4 attempts, she will move to the top of the order.
Okay, so she had 3 attempts to go. Of course, she knows that Petra flashed it because, as you know, she was in the transit zone behind the wall. Petra came back after a minute and a half, so she knows that Petra flashed it, and maybe again this puts pressure on Eva. Psychology is quite interesting in bouldering.
Here she goes. This is attempt number 2. She's in the final regardless, but after such a strong qualifying yesterday, it'd be amazing if she could follow it up with first place in this semi-final as well.
It will be important not to get too nervous now because of these 2 attempts. She has to pull herself together, and
she didn't look quite sure about that move. She went with the right hand and then released the left, whereas Petra just stopped.
yeah.
Obviously there's different ways to climb the boulder, but
Yeah, but it's interesting to see the body language from these 2 coming out. Petra, on the first 2 problems, she used quite some attempts, wasn't 100% satisfied, whereas on number 3 and 4, she was 100% in control. And for Eva, it looks as if Petra might have put a little bit of pressure on her now, that she has to use some attempts now. We'll see if she'll be able to manage this boulder. And she's the only one out on the mats now too. So she knows all the eyes that are here are on her.
as we've said though, what a great experience for her. This is
Definitely good training. I mean, it's...
Do you know her plans for the World Cups? I mean, is she planning to come to the World Cups if they take place later this year?
I guess it depends where and when they're going to take place. Also, you have to qualify for the Austrian team. Not 100% sure how this procedure will actually be done this year, but I mean, from her personal perspective, I'm sure she'd love to start at World Cups. The only international comp she attended this year was the Stuttgart Masters, where she finished 7th, just short of finals. And today she already has a spot guaranteed. So.
Music's cranked up now, and the few people in here are cheering along. She's got the left hand in place, that's the way you want to do it, and she's found the top. Followed up yesterday's amazing qualifying performance with an amazing
nice
semi-final performance. It will come down to attempts. Never recommend trusting my maths, but I think that leaves her in first.
Yeah, we have 3 women with 4 boulders, which is Eva, Johanna and Petra.
Yeah, so when that updates, I think she will move ahead of Johanna into first place on attempts. She does, yeah.
Then we have Jessica Pilz, Sandra Lettner and Mattea Pötzi, who are joining D3 with 3 boulders.
She actually goes into first place by 1 attempt to 1 zone.
That's a close call.
It is a close call, yeah.
But I think the route setters did an amazing job. I mean, 3 women have 4 boulders, and the other 3 from the final have 3 boulders. 7th place is Emilia Warensky, who has 2 boulders. Is that correct?
No, Jessie and Sandra have 3, and Mattea made it into the final with 2. Yeah. So it was tight. But no, if you look at the scores, really nice spread. As you say, 3 people with 4 tops, 2 with 3 tops, and then Mattea Pötzi, the highest ranked of the 4 climbers who got 2 tops. And you can see there, spare a thought for Amelia, Lucia and Leia, who all got 2 tops as well, but it wasn't quite enough. But yeah, it feels like the spread was pretty good. Boulders were varied, and an excellent, very entertaining semi-final. Anna, we get a little break now. And then we're back for the men at 1 p.m. Innsbruck time, Central European time. Thank you very much for your company, and I'll see you after a coffee in about an hour's time.
Yeah, see you at 1 p.m. Really looking forward to the men's semi-finals. good job to all the women's. And yeah, thank you. See you later.
Und in wenigen Minuten gibt es ein Technical-Meeting für den Speedwinner, für alle Coaches. In wenigen Minuten bitte die Coaches, hauptsächlich jene aus Japan, Mexiko und Südafrika.
I think I'll have to jump the floor.
Technical-Meeting der Speedwinner.